Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. Lot number 2, we have an antique circa 1890 cotton wrapper dress with fabulous black with bright blue and olive green vermicular print. Very good condition with minor discoloration in the lining of the bodice. What can we start this at?
120.
120, 130, 130, 130, 120, 130, 130, 130, 120, 130, 130, 130, 120, would you bid 130, could you 130, could you go 130, 120, 130, 130, 130, 120, 130, 130, 130, 120, would you bid 130, could you go 130, could you go 130, 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, would you bid 140, could you go 140, could you go 140, 130, 140, 140, 140, all in, all done. 130 now, 140 going once. 130 now, 140 going twice. Last call.
Yes.
In time. Now be careful with those last second bids, live auctioneers. I don't want to miss your bid. There is a delay. When I say sold, it's sold, okay? We'll take that bid. 140 now, 150. 140, 150, 150, 150. Come on, bid square. Get back in there. Don't let them sneak in there like that. 140, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150, 140. Would you bid 150? Could you give 150? Could you go 150? Folks, the condition on this is really, really nice. Really nice. 140, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150, all in, all done. 140 now, 150 going once. 140 now, 150 going twice. Last call. And we sold at $140. That went to a live auctioneer bidder. Lot number 3, we have an antique circa 1890 cotton wrapper dress with black and bright pink flowers, faint green and white shadow motifs. A great neon print here, folks. It is in very good condition. What can we start this at?
50.
50 bid, 60 bid, 60 bid, 60. Folks, it's better than that. 50 bid, 60, 60 bid, 70 bid, 70 bid, 70, 60 bid, 70 bid, 70, 70 now, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, 70, would you bid 80, could you give 80, 80 bid, 90 bid, 90 bid, 90, have 80 bid, 90 bid, 90 bid, 90, 90 now, 100, 100, 100, 90, would you bid 100, could you give 100, could you go 100, 90, 100, 100, 100, 90, 100, 100, 100, think you could, think you should, 100, 110, and 110, and 110, 100, 110, and 110, 110 now, 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120, 110, would you bid 120, could you go 120, could you go 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120, all in, all done, 120, 130, 130, 130, 120, 130, 130, 130, 130 now, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, would you bid 140, could you go 140, could you go 140, 140 now, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150, 140, would you bid 150, could you go 150, could you go 150, all in, all done. Come on, don't lose it for $10. Live auctioneers, get back in there. 140 now, 150 going once. 140 now, 150 going twice. Last call. And we sold it $140. That went to a bid square bidder. Lot number 4, we have an antique circa 1890 morning print dress. This has a rick-rack finishing on the collar cuffs and adorning the waist. It is in fair condition with small holes, possibly some mouse damage and rust-like spots. What can we start this at?
25.
25 at 30 bid, 30 bid, 30, 30 now, 35 at 35 at 35, 30 is the bid now, 35, 30 bid, 35 at 35, 35 and now 40 bid, 40 bid, 40, 35 bid, 40 bid, 40 bid, 40, 35, would you bid 40, could you give 40, could you go 40, 35 bid, 40, 40 now, 45 at 45 at 45, 40 is the bid now, 45 and now 50 bid, 50 bid, 50, 45 bid, 50 bid, 50 bid, 50, 45, would you bid 50, could you give 50, could you go 50, 50 now, 60 bid, 60 bid, 60, I 50 bid, 60 bid, 60 bid, 60, 50 bid, 60 bid, 60 bid, 60, 50 would you bid, 60 could you give, 60 could you go, 60 all in, all done. In time, 60 now, 70 bid, 70 bid, 70, 60 bid, 70 bid, 70 bid, 70, 60 would you bid, 70 could you give, 70 could you go, 70. Hey, folks in the audience, there's snacks, coffee, tea, drinks and water in the refrigerator. Help yourself, okay? 60 bid, 70 bid, 70 bid, 70, 60 bid, 70 bid, 70 bid, 70, 70 now, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, thank you. 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, 70 would you bid, 80 could you give, 80 could you go, 80, 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80, all in, all done. 70 bid, $80 going once. 70 bid, $80 going twice. Last call. We sold it $70. That went to a Bid Square bidder. You're doing great over there, Bid Square. Lot number 5, we have an antique 19th century cotton day dress with lace to subtle flesh color pink, beige, and natural print arranged vertically. I think this may have been possibly like maybe a Congo red, and it's faded to that melon color. It's real. I mean, I just love the back on that. It's got that little train. It's just a beautiful. I think it's one of my favorite dresses in the sale, to be perfectly honest with you. What can we start? Let me get condition. It's in good condition with overall fading, some broken lace areas, and missing hook and eyes at the neck. Okay, what can we start at?
130.
130, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140. I think it's much nicer than that, folks. 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140. 130, would you bid 140? Could you go 140? Could you go 140? 130, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140. Look at all that fabric. Oh my gosh. 130, 140, 130, 40, 140, 140 now, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150, 150, 160, 160, 160, 150. Would you bid 160? Could you go 160? Could you go 160? 150, 160, 160, 160, all in, all done. 150 now, 160 going once. 150 now, 160 going twice. Last call.
Yeah.
In time, 160, 170, 170, 170, 160, 170, 170, 170. 160, would you bid 170? Could you go 170? Could you go 170? 160, 170, 170, 170, all in, all done. 160 now, 170 going once. 160 now, 170 going twice. 170 now, 180, 180, 180, 170, 180, 180, 180. Come on, Dana Auctions bidder, get on in there. 170, 180, 180, 180, 170, 180, 180, 180. 170 now, 180 going once. 170 now, 180 going twice. Last call. Sold $170. That went to the Bid Square bidder. Lot number 6, we have an antique circa 1880 two-piece cotton dress, dark wine with tan floral print and blue dots, in good condition with minor discoloration. What can we start this at?
100.
100, 110, 110, 110, 100, 110, 110, 110, 100, 110, 110 now, 120, 120, 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120. 110, would you bid 120? Could you go 120? Could you go 120? 110 now, 120, 120, 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120. 110, would you bid 120? Could you go 120? Could you go 120? 110 now, 120, 120, 120, 110 now, 120, 120, 120, all in, all done. Some nice detail there with those blue seams. 120 now, 130, 130, 130, 130 now, 120, 130, 130 now, 140, 140, 140, 130, 140, 140, 140, 140 now, 150, 150, 150, 140, 150, 150, 150 now, 160, 160, 160, 150, 160, 160, 160, 160, 170, 170, 170, 160, 170, 170, 170, 160, would you bid 170, could you go 170, could you go 170, 160, 170, 170, 170 now, 180, 180, 180, 170, 180, 180, 180, 170, 180, 180, 180, 170, 180, 180, 180, 170. Would you bid 180? Could you go 180? Could you go 180? All in, all done. 170 now, 180 going once.
Yeah.
180 now, 190, 190, 190, 180, 190, 190, 190, 180, 190, 190, 190. 180 now, 190 going once. 180 now, 190 going twice. Last call. Oh, yeah. That was a close one, Bid Square. We'll take it. 190 now, 200 bid, 200 bid, 200. Just be careful. Once we say sold, it's sold. We are on multiple platforms. Once the clerk hits that sold button, it is nearly impossible to go back it out of the other platforms, folks. 190 now, 200 bid, 200 bid, 200. 190's bid now, 200. 190, would you bid 200? Could you get 200? Could you go 200? 190's bid now, 200. 190's bid 200 bid, 200 bid, 200. 190's bid 200. Think you could? Think you should? I know you're thinking about it. 190 bid 200 bid, 200 bid, 200. All in, all done. 190 now, $200 going once. 190 now, $200 going twice. Last call. Sold. $190 to the Bid Square bidder. Lot number 7, antique circa 1880, two-piece cotton dress with that blue faux lace stripe print. Really, really pretty. Skirt has that wonderful pleated box, that ruffle hem, missing the closure on the back. Good condition with some spots and discolorations. What we started at?
40.
40 bid, 45 bid, 45 bid, 45. 40's the bid now, 45. Oh, it's better than that, folks. 45 and now 50 bid, 50 bid, 50. 45 bid, 50. 50 bid, 60 bid, 60 bid, 60. 50 bid, 60 bid, 60 bid, 60. 60 bid, 70 bid, 70 bid, 70. 60 bid, 70. 70 now, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. 70 would you bid, 80 could you give, 80 could you go, 80. 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. I have 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. Look at the little lace detail on those cuffs. 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. 70 would you bid, 80 could you give, 80 could you go, 80. 70 bid, 80 bid, 80 bid, 80. All in, all done. Cheap, 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 folks. 70 bid, $80 going once. 80 bid, 90 bid, 90 bid, 90. 80 bid, 90 bid, 90. 90 now, 100, 100, 100. 90, 100, 100, 100. 90 would you bid, 100 could you give, 100 could you go, 100. 90, 100, 100, 100. All in, all done. 90 now, $100 going once. 90 now, 100 in time. 100, 110 and 110 and 110. 100, 110 and 110 and 110. 100, 110 and 110 and 110. 110 now, 120, 120, 120. 110 now, 120, 120, 120. 120, 130, 130, 130, 120, 130, 130, 130. 120, would you bid 130? Could you give 130? Could you go 130? 120, 130, 130, 130. All in, all done. 120 now, 130 going once. 120 now, 130 going twice. Last call. And we sold at $120. That went to a Dana Auctions bidder.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe.